Hey there, Brody here with Let's Table It. I have a copy of License to Krill. It's a family card game contained within this whale stuffed animal, and you will use the whale kind of like a discard area as it eats up cards throughout the game. Players will be choosing cards to gain, and depending on their location, they will perform that action as well. After so many rounds, the player who has the most points from their cards wins the game. Now, here is the game setup on the table. We are set up for a 4-player game with these 5 cards, but you might be playing a 3-player game, which will be a little bit different with the cards out there, 4 of them. And in a 2-player game, there are 3 of these cards out here. Each card lists an action to perform when taking the Krill card that's placed on top of it. Each player starts the game with 1 kelp card, and the player with the most kelp at the end of the game will earn an extra 3 points. All the Krill cards are shuffled together, and 1 is placed out on each ocean market card to form the market. The whale deck is then formed as well, depending on the numbers of players playing in the game, and you will have a set amount of krilling time cards and then another amount of other random whale cards. These are all shuffled together and form the whale deck with specific cards on the bottom. The whale is then placed pointing at the starting player, and they are considered the current target for the whale. You don't want to be the target, most likely. Then turns occur in a clockwise direction where you will be choosing one of the face-up cards on the market spot. And if you choose a card that has a shark shown on the upper left of its card, then this is an action card which will be triggered immediately. And you will then place the card in front of you and do what the card says. If you choose a card without a shark, you will simply add it to your group of cards in front of you, and you will be getting points from the way it scores. After choosing your card, you will then perform the action shown on the ocean market card. Let's go over these. This is reveal the top whale card and follow what it says. Well, there's a lot of possibilities, so let's see some of these. If it's krilling time, the player that is the current target of the whale has to choose one of their cards to discard to the whale. If this is a krill card, then they can draw a kelp card as a bonus. If it is a kelp card and it is eaten, then, nothing happens. They just get rid of that card. If the whale card says logging, then nothing happens. The whale is napping. If the whale is blowing, then the whale eats all current ocean market cards and new ones get replaced. If the whale is breaching, then the whale moves and targets the player with the most cards in front of them. If the whale is sky hopping, then the whale targets the next player in clockwise direction, moving the whale to that next player. If the whale is tail slapping, the target player chooses an ocean market card for the whale to eat, and a new card comes out to replace it. If the whale is exploring, the current target of the whale gets to choose a new target to place the whale at. If you pull an ambergris card, then the targeted player actually draws and keeps 1 card at random from the whale's mouth. If diving, the whale moves and targets the player with the most sardines. So sometimes you can benefit from being the target, but other times you are suffering losing cards from being the target of the whale. The other actions are moving the whale to target a player 1 space clockwise or 1 space counterclockwise, or move 2 spaces clockwise or 2 spaces counterclockwise. In a 3-player game, you have an action to move the whale to the player with the most points, and in a 2-player game, you have an action to draw the top 2 cards from the deck and play one of the 2 to your area. Then feed the other cards along with all the other placed out cards to the whale, and then refill the market again. After performing your action from the ocean market cards, you will then reveal the top whale card and do what it says. Now, if you pick the card in this game from the whale card, you will then do this action once for that and another time for the end step. So you will always draw at least 1 whale card per turn. There are a certain random amount of cards placed at the bottom of the whale deck, and when the final krilling time card is revealed, 1 last krilling time event occurs and the game ends. Players now add up their total krill cred from all of the cards they have in front of them. Some cards will be face down, and you can turn these now face up to receive the points on them. And other cards have special ways to earn more points. These are all applied at this time, and the player with the highest krill cred wins the game. And, well, that's License to Krill. You know, it's a game of collecting the right cards to score you the most points. Many times cards will be worth some amount of points, but if you do something, you know, that it says on that card, they might be worth more. Or the other way around, it can be worth a lot of points, and then if you do something, you know, it could be worth less points. You want to gain cards that you can accomplish and those extra bonuses you can gain to get even more points. But you want to avoid cards that overlap too much, causing you not to earn extra points due to, you know, how they score points. It's a game of choosing a card you want versus choosing a card you might not want as much to gain a better action from the Ocean Market card that it's placed on. And you want the best cards that you can, but sometimes they are placed on an action that might hinder you more than help you. But the cards are random and you don't know exactly what's coming up next. The game includes this whale stuffed animal that you know, place cards in its mouth and, you know, form a discard pile or even store the game in there as well. And I think that's great. You know, my kids really love that. They like passing this whale around and playing with it, having something hands-on. There are plenty of different cards as well in this game that you can try to pair together to get more points. The target player is kind of like the hot potato player, and no one knows, you know, when the Krilling time card will show up. So you just want to keep pushing it to other players, but a certain card might make it worth just, you know, being the target to get a certain card that will score you even more points, and maybe potentially getting that negative, though it could be positive. Overall, it's a cute card game about whales eating krill, and my kids have, you know, kept wanting to play this game over and over again. I don't know if it's because of the stuffy or the game itself, but they've loved it. Again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get these games to the table. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are new and working hard to bring to you videos like this one, so you know if these games are ones you want to get to your own table.